Have you ever wanted to collaborate with another YouTuber, but you just didn't know how? Well, in today's video, I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do to start collaborating with other YouTubers on YouTube. Hi, my name is Morgan Stradling, and in today's video, I'm not only going to teach you why collaborations are important and why you should be doing them, but I'm also going to give you the step-by-step guide on what you need to do your first YouTube collaboration. So collaborations are everywhere, not only just on YouTube, but on podcasts, on websites, on Instagram profiles. And the reason is because collaborations work. The number one benefit of a collaboration is that it exposes you or your product to a brand new audience. Exposure to a new audience will not only get you more chances to get more views, but more subscribers. And that's because people's time is limited. They don't have the chance to check out every single YouTuber out there. So by having your face appear in front of somebody else's audience, it allows them to see you perhaps for the first time and say,
hey, I really like this person, I want to subscribe.
We see this all the time in the beauty world where a famous beauty guru will team up with a very popular makeup brand and they will do a product together as a collaboration. The beauty guru or YouTuber has a very loyal and dedicated audience and they will follow wherever the YouTuber or the guru tells them to go. So as a result, many times these collaborations are incredibly successful because people want to purchase that product from their favorite YouTuber, and it just happens to be by this brand. Likewise with YouTube, people have a very loyal audience, and so when they are introduced to something new, a percentage of people are going to follow simply because they are loyal and they want to support you. So in the case of YouTube collaborations, this can be very beneficial because if you both have very loyal audiences, they will follow you to the other person's channel to check out that other content. Another benefit of collaborations is that it allows you to spice up your content. If you're just kind of doing the same stuff over and over and over again, yes, it may be great content, it may be very helpful, but by having a collaboration every once in a while, it really mixes things up. It allows for a fresh face to appear on your channel or for you to appear on someone else's channel, and it's really just a lot of fun to do. Another benefit is that it builds community. You're not only building community with someone else's subscribers, but you're building community within your own industry and with other YouTubers. So instead of you just being in your bubble making videos, it allows you to reach out and make friends with other people just like you. The last benefit of collaborations is it allows your audiences to see some of their favorites together. So people actually may be subscribers to both of your channels, but they love you both so much they want to see you together in a video. And this really excites subscribers and they love it. You see this all the time with really, really big YouTubers, and people just go nuts over collaborations because, like I said, people love seeing their two favorite things together in one spot. All right, so now let's jump into how to do a collaboration on YouTube, because if you've never done this before, it can probably be very daunting. You may not have friends in your space, or you may not know exactly what you need to do a collaboration. So my first tip for YouTube collaborations is to realize that you are never too small to start. I know a lot of people think of collaborations and they think of the big YouTubers with millions and millions of subscribers or hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can start very, very small. I actually did a video on how to get your first 1,000 subscribers, and I collaborated with Trina Little. And in that video, I talk about collaborations and how that can be something you can use to get your first 1,000 subscribers. So you can have less than 1,000 subscribers and still use collaborations to your advantage to help you grow. So you don't necessarily have to have 100 subscribers, 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, but I will say that in order to do your first collaboration, you need to have consistent content on YouTube. So having one video out there and then reaching out to a bunch of people to collab probably isn't going to work out because you haven't proven that you're consistent on the platform. You haven't proven that you have a consistent audience that is showing up and watching your videos. So just pay attention to that. Make sure that you have a decent amount of videos already out there and you have at least a good amount of subscribers that are coming back for each video, because a big part of collaborations is that it is benefiting both parties. So if you don't have an audience and someone does, there really isn't much in it for them unless they're your friend and they like you. All right, my next tip for YouTube collaborations is to collaborate with those in similar niches or industries as you, especially if you're just starting out and you are smaller. If you are bigger, then yes, it may make sense to collaborate with random brands or random YouTubers, and that could work. If you're a financial planner, people are probably already coming to your channel because they're interested in financial planning. They like all the different tips that you give and suggestions, and you're really helping to improve their lives by giving them the tools to plan for their future financially. So if you find someone else who is in that space, your current audience is really going to resonate with that, and they will like the content coming from this other person because it is also in the financial planning space. If it's totally random, like race car driving, that they're probably not going to watch it because they came to you for financial planning, right? So just make sure that whatever you are doing when you are first starting out, that you find someone who is in a similar industry as you, because that way the collaboration will be more successful. All right, my next tip goes right along with this, and it's finding someone who's a similar size as you. So if you're just starting out and you have 500 subscribers, you most likely aren't going to hear back from someone who has 1 million subscribers. Obviously, it would benefit you greatly to have your channel appear in front of their audience of 1 million subscribers, but there's nothing in it for them. Why would they do that? Because they are not really going to benefit much by doing that collaboration. So I would definitely suggest finding someone in a similar size as you. So if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, finding someone else with less than 1,000 subscribers would probably be a good match for your first collaboration. But now this doesn't necessarily have to always be the case. Just because you have 5,000 subscribers doesn't mean you have to find someone exactly with 5,000 subscribers. When I did my collaboration with Trina, she actually had 30,000 subscribers and I was just under 10,000 subscribers. So even though there was a little bit of discrepancy there, it wasn't really a big deal because we were more or less in the same ballpark, right? We weren't in the major leagues with having millions of subscribers. We're probably in the AA, when you're AAA when you get to 100,000 plus. And so, we're still kind of in the same league. And so that's why that collaboration was so successful. So again, don't let the numbers really mess with you, but just make sure that you're in the same league as the person that you are reaching out to. So that brings me into my next tip, which is to reach out for collaborations. Now, once you've identified someone that you want to collaborate with, you will want to reach out to them. And depending on your pre-existing relationship with that person, it might be easier or harder to get their attention. So for example, if you already are friends with this person and you talk on a daily basis, it's probably going to be very easy to bring up the subject of a collaboration, right? But if this is someone that you have never talked to before, they may not be interested in you and be open to it because it's kind of like a cold call. And we know how effective cold call selling is. It's not very effective. So one of the things that I suggest if you don't have a pre-existing relationship with this person is to start getting involved in their community. Follow them on Instagram, subscribe to their channel, comment on their videos and on their posts, make an introduction via DM way in advance before you bring up the subject of a collaboration. This just makes it seem a lot more natural and that you're actually doing it because you care about them, not because you simply just want to do a collaboration just because. And it will definitely warm them up to the idea when you eventually bring up the topic of a collaboration. Now, how you bring this up, there are multiple ways. The most common and probably the most professional is to send an email. Many people and YouTubers have an email listed on their YouTube page, so that is a very easy way to contact them and to make the introduction and propose the collaboration. So an example of a collaboration pitch gone totally wrong was about a year ago. I had come across Catherine Manning's channel. Now, if you don't know, Catherine Manning is an amazing YouTuber and she shares her YouTube journey, and she had just barely started to blow up. I think she had about 5,000 subscribers at the time and I had less than 1,000. And so I reached out to her via DM on Instagram and mentioned how much I love her content and her videos, and I thought maybe we should collaborate on the future. And looking back, it's like there was nothing in it for her. She had no idea who I was. I hadn't really engaged on her videos or on her Instagram posts. I was just a random fan coming out of nowhere saying, hey, let's collaborate. And obviously, I didn't get a response, which I totally understand because there was no relationship there whatsoever. And I wasn't presenting anything as to why this would benefit her and why she would want to do this with some random nobody. Because you have to remember, especially if you're cold calling people, you're basically a random nobody to someone. And on the flip side, I have a podcast and we get emails all the time of people saying, hey, if you ever need a guest host, let me know. And I'm kind of like, who are you? I have no relationship with you. Why on earth would I want to podcast with you? So it definitely, I've seen it from both sides. And I will just let you know that the random cold call is not the best. All right, my next tip when you are proposing this collaboration for YouTube is to let them know what is in it for them. Are you an expert in a topic related to their niche which they haven't covered before? That would be really helpful because maybe they haven't covered it before because they're just not comfortable talking about that. And so you could provide something to their audience which would be very valuable. So that's just an example of a way that you could propose it so they understand how this benefits them. So this leads to my next tip when you are sending this email is to come with ideas ready to go. If you just send an email and say,
Hey, my name is whatever, and I want to do this collaboration. Here's how it benefits you. What do you think?
that doesn't really tell them the next steps or what to expect, and it actually puts a lot of work on them. People already have really busy lives, and so when you're having to add something else onto their plate, it's kind of overwhelming and they probably will say no. So in your message to this person, you could come up with ideas. You could have maybe 3 different ideas of video topics or whatnot. And this really does a lot of the heavy lifting for the person because it shows that you've already done your homework. You've put a lot of thought into this and that you're taking this seriously. This person is probably really busy and has a lot on their plate. So if you come to them with 3 ideas of video topics or ways that you can do the collaboration, it shows that you did your homework. It shows that you care about this and that you actually put a lot of effort into this collaboration proposal. And they will appreciate it and maybe consider it that much more because you came with all of your ducks in a row and you did all of the work for them. Then if they decide they want to do the collaboration, it's easier for them because they just have to say, yeah, I love that idea, let's do it. All right, so at this point, you have an agreement. You guys are doing a collaboration. Congratulations, because that's honestly the hardest part is getting the yes. And just know that you're probably going to have a lot of messages or interactions with people and emails, and it's okay if you don't get a response back. Totally fine, totally normal. But if you do the steps that I talked about before, especially building that relationship with the person ahead of time, it's gonna make this that much more successful. So going on, my next tip, you are doing a collaboration. The next thing that you need to do is establish the collaboration type. There are a variety of ways to do collaborations, so you're gonna set that first and foremost so you guys both know what to expect and what you guys need to do. Now, YouTube collaborations can be done a variety of ways. I think one of the best ways is where you are both on camera together and then you both are featured in 2 different videos where you're both on camera. A lot of really big YouTubers, I think of James Charles does a lot of collaborations this way, and they are very, very successful because you're getting the best of both worlds. Now, I understand that may be difficult because you're not living in the same area or you may not be traveling and be at a convention or somewhere where you could be in the same place at the same time. So definitely you can still do collaborations where you are both featured in each other's video in certain ways. So as far as different collaboration types, I already talked about the first one where you are both in each other's videos. So video 1 features both of you and it's on topic A, and then you head over to the other person's channel for video 2 and it features both of you. Very, very, very effective. Now, the next type of YouTube collaboration is the takeover, where basically you do a video entirely on one person's channel and they do one on your channel. There's no featuring of the other person. It's just, boom, I created a video, I put it on your channel, and they created a video and they put it on your channel. For a first collaboration, I would not recommend this because, again, people are coming for you, especially if you have loyal subscribers. So if they don't see your face at all or you're not there, they may just tune out immediately and think like, whoa, I'm on the wrong channel. What is this? So definitely that works for some people, but not my favorite. Now, my next type of YouTube collaboration is the hybrid model, where you both appear in each other's videos for different periods of time. So I've seen it where one person does the introduction and then they go into, let's say, 10 tips, and then the 4th tip is this new person and they're giving their perspective. So it's just a little snippet of this new person, and then off you go. The majority of the content is you. Or you could do it where you kick off the video, you introduce the topic, you introduce the collaborator, and you basically share why you trust this person. So then your audience will trust them and they'll want to stick around. And then you kick it right off to that person's portion of the video. And then at the end of that, that person will introduce and say, hey, if you want to see the next part of this collaboration or the other tips, go over to my channel to check out Morgan. And so there's more incentive for them to watch your entire video, but then they're excited to go check out this other video and other channel because it's more of you. And this is actually what I just did with Trina Little on my most recent video. Is we had a video about how to get your first 1,000 subscribers. This is something that people commonly search for on YouTube. New YouTubers are just wanting to get their first 1,000 subscribers. It's really, really important and it's a really big milestone. And so we came together and we created a list of our top 10 tips, and then she took 5 and I did 5. And so if you wanted to get all 10 of the tips, you'd have to watch both videos. But the video that appeared on my channel was just a little intro by me, and the majority of the content was Trina, and vice versa. All right, so once you've established the type of collaboration that you're going to do and how it's going to be structured, you need to set a schedule, a release date, and a time. All right, once you have established the collaboration type and you know how it's going to be structured, you need to discuss topics for each of the videos. This is pretty straightforward, but you don't want them to necessarily be carbon copies of each other, but you want them to pair with each other very nicely, so it would make sense for someone to want to watch the other video. So my example, we did 5 tips and the other 5 tips were on the other channel. Or you could do part A of something and part B, but they could be watched in interchangeable order. So you definitely want these videos to pair together, where they are great on their own, but together they are just even more powerful and they provide the full picture and an even better learning or viewing experience. The next step in your YouTube collaboration is you need to set a release date and sort of a schedule for deliverables. Since you'll be working together with someone else, you'll definitely want to plan ahead of time for this collaboration. You don't want to give yourself just a week to get it done, although that may totally work. But you want to make sure you both have time to film your videos, send each other your portions of your videos, so both people can view it, can approve it, can make changes, and then you'll have time to schedule the videos. So having a schedule set is really important. For Trina and I, we both made sure that our videos were done and edited 2 weeks before our launch date. That way we could both view them, we could have time to give critiques or make little changes if needed to, and then had plenty of time to upload it to our channels and to get everything ready. In order to maximize the exposure of these videos, you will want these videos to be released at the exact same time. Because if you release one and the other one's not available yet, people are gonna drop off and they're not gonna wait around for that other video to appear. So you want them to drop at the very exact second, so that way as soon as someone finishes the one video, they can hop on over and check out the other video. All right, the final step for a YouTube collaboration is to release the video and to promote it. So once the video is live, you want to promote this so people know about it. So talk about it in your email newsletter or on your social media channels. You put a lot of work into this collaboration, so just sending it off on its way to the YouTube universe is great, but you want to make it worth it for that person. So do your part to really promote this so that they see, wow, this was a great collaboration. Maybe I want to do that again in the future. Whether you are a big or a small YouTuber, collaborations are perfect for anyone because it's a chance to increase your subscribers and your views, but also to increase your network and your community of other people who do what you do. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on collaborations. Have you done collaborations before? Or what collaborations have you seen other YouTubers do that you really thought were effective? Be sure to subscribe to join the tribe, and while you're at it, be sure to check out my collaboration that I did with Trina right here. That's all I have for today, and I'll see you next time. So video 1 features both of yous, and it's on, but also to increase your network,